Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing, spectacular Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane. The one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on Millroad in the north. It is Finndeed, most finished of deeds, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Rolling out here with the 7th Panzer Division, the Ghost Division. Here with strategic reserves, with assault grenadiers, Panzer IV Model J's, breakthrough packages, the mobile observation post, and the Tiger Race with triple infantry versus south. It is PFC. Apparently the P stands for Pro. I know what else is supposed to stand for. Pineapples? Well, no, that's pineapple, dude. Pizza. Oh well, anyways. Fighting here for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, with the 1st Guards Mechanized Corps here with Armoured Assault Tactics featuring the T-3045, Radio Intercept, vehicle repair training, R2 Sturmovik attacks, and of course the IS-2 heavy tank. Triple infantry bullets in there for PFC. Assault Grenadier MG42 still there for Finndeed. There's going to be some grenadiers here with the Infantry Company backing it up. And we got double comps there for PFC. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my patron supporters, my own personal company of heroes, these charming lads and laddettes. You too can join the ranks by pledging on Patreon. You guys just donate. Links in the video description. There's no comment, like, share, subscribe, press the bell button. Anyways, we're off here to the action here in the south. We got to put some to be clash here by the southern field victory point here. MG42 there. Assault grenades ready with the MP40s. They are Schmeissers. Engineers holding up here. Conscript forwards there for PFC. We got the other conscript setting up there for him as well. First shots fired here. MG40 occupying the small tactical position shed here. That's all just from the other side. Protect against the flank, but also, you know, theoretically setting up for a trap here. So they try to flank the machine, set onto the assault grenadiers here. And we go. Quickly getting hosed down. Julie drops dead first as he gets a stomach full of 9mm Parabellum. Coming from the north here. Grenadiers following up there for Finndeed and the German army. Pioneers forming up forwards here. Good work by Finndeed. You typically, as always, as the Wehrmacht want to use your machine gun as actively as possible. You don't want to like just stuff into place and forget about it. That typically leads to less than great things. Unless your opponent insistently walks into it every time. In which case, great, your mother's giving you a chance. But 2, they're not a good opponent. Grenadiers moving forwards there. 4th conscript there for PFC. Holding up here around the southern point there. Pushing forward the grenadiers, the assault grenadiers here, conscript up as well for PFC. 4th conscript there on the way. There's going to be a lot of infantry. Indeed, I imagine it's going to go for more grenadiers. They could also sneak in more assault grenadiers. Either would work out well here. More grenadiers it is. More grenadiers it is. Machine moving towards the centre here. Grenadiers, assault grenadiers holding up there. 3rd grenadier squad there for Indeed. Nothing further going on in the base of PFC. Conscript sneaking about there, looking to basically see if he can't wrong foot here Finndeed and find a gap there. Finndeed, of course, realising this, is trying to, like, you know, try and sort of tip-tap-toe around here, hoping you sort of catch PFC in a bad spot while he's trying to do so. So, mind games going on here. Wars of maneuver. Soldiers trying to go up, using the train to get close here. Nice plane machine in there setting up, but getting flanked now by the flame engineers. Again, really good use of infantry by PFC. Assault moving forwards. 3rd grenadier squad there arriving here for Finndeed. Could try and take up. Could also go for another machine gun. We shall see what he does, of course. Flame engineers continue to pressure up there. Backs off here though due to the sheer number of conscripts. Machine repositioning. Again, pioneers in the south here, a bit forgotten by Finndeed as there's so much else going on right now. And there we go, pushing forward towards infantry before the machine gun has a chance to up here. Good push by PFC. This is where another machine gun doing great. He's going for 3rd grenadier squad on top of everything else. Interesting choice there. Not what you typically expect here from the Wehrmacht. So, very interesting here. But you see the Finndeed is more or less been pushed off here by PFC already here. Good push by PFC. Finndeed did his best, but ultimately fell a bit short, unfortunately, here versus PFC and the Red Army. At least ensured he didn't suffer any wipes here, which would have obviously been a lot worse. So at least, you know, got played up Finndeed, mitigating the worst of an otherwise messy situation. Sometimes, you know, if the situation's going bad, the best you can do is just, like, look to damage control, which is typically trying to get your men out there, as, you know, in, you know, singular pieces as possible. Then it's just the conscript before catching the engineers there. Fedorov there drops dead. Pushing north of the grenadiers. Going to take up soon here for Finndeed. Back here in PFC's base, we got the medics up there. Engineers routed, but still render the fuel point neutral. Crucial element there, of course. Slows down Finndeed's fuel income. Grand Western Victor Point hitting him in the sandbags. Another loss there on the engineers. There's still 1 man alive. Need to go up that southern fuel point though. Pioneer setting out. Finndeed, I imagine, should want to take up here soon. Of course, Finndeed may have other plans. Though what those plans are, I don't know. But then it's going for the car point. Finndeed hope to turn the tables here by going for a cut-off pin here with the Grenadiers MG42. Nice aggressive tactic here. Soldiers push back the conscripts there. There we go. Pioneers around by the southern fuel point, but still denying his opponent fuel there. It's also a good move here by Finndeed. And again, looks like shows a shift initiative by just trying to suddenly and abruptly grasp PFC place where he's not expecting it. In this case, it's carve point, because again, he's just like, you know, pushed back from D to space. The last thing you'd expect is just opponent to make a straight beeline for your carve point and sit down a machine gun there. That said, of course, you need to be mindful of the flank. In particular, this area is going to be crucial here. Theoretically, also this, but it's going to be a bit hard to make an easy route there. But this is probably the more obvious route he has to be mindful of. Looks like the PFC, in fact, is not going to go for the more obvious route. It's going to take the less obvious route and try and go for a deeper flank here. It takes more time, which typically most players will never take because, well, it takes too long. And that's like a fun thing we sort of noticed with some players. They're actually really lazy, in which case they usually always just take the longest path rather than take a more tactically efficient route that may take longer time, but again will just typically yield larger results. There you go. It's a pincer maneuver. 2 thumb there. He did also push for the south, but he actually makes still the longer route as well there. So 2 thumbs to PFC. Tactically really start maneuvering here by PFC. Caught Finndeed there off guard. This is where some S mines were helpful. That said, not all was lost here for Finndeed. He actually managed to land a rifle net here on one of PFC's consort, getting a wipe there. So all this was going on there. PFC did lose slight control of 1 unit, allowing Finndeed to at least somehow edge things up. But still, good push there by both players. Really nice maneuvering here from both Finndeed and for PFC. Really nice plays. Ground western fuel point over the Grenadiers in the south here, contributing straight to the fuel point again. It's moving to defend the car point. Pioneers rushing forwards. Armoured car almost down here for Finndeed. PFC going for the tank of the tank command. Likely going to seeing a T-70, though he could try and rush out the anti-aircraft traffic. That would, of course, be another aggressive move here from PFC, which could catch Finndeed off guard. But just because he can do it doesn't mean he typically will. But you know, he could. He could. Machine Pioneers being pushed for the fuel point here. Medic bunker on the way there for Finndeed, and there go to arriving. The Leica punches spear bargain. Once more, the fuel pump going to neutral. When he's around here from the west. No replacements yet for PFC, and looks like he's going to go straight for the T-70 light tank here. That's going to definitely require an anti-tank here for Finndeed, or at least 1 more armoured car. Like 2 armoured cars with a bit of Panther support can actually take out a T-70 if you know what you're doing. That said, it is obviously a bit tricky and does require a bit more manoeuvring and skill to pull off, which is why most players never bother with it. On the car, there's engineers though, blasting the full holes with the cracks machine gun and the auto cannon. Very good. Back here, troops reinforcing healing for Finndeed. Down the southern point. He's right here with the armored car. They like to punch his spear wagon. Troops sitting out there for Finndeed. T-70 almost ready here for PFC, not going for at least an replacement who's called either. You definitely watch that T-70 out there pronto. Doesn't want to do anything. We did actually see Finndeed continuing Telemine. He's starting to mine there, though. Good mining by PFC, of course. Thumbs up. I imagine Finndeed's response would be to go for some minesweepers in the future, though getting down to Telemines would really be a good idea as well here for Finndeed. There you go. T-70 is around here for PFC and the Red Army. Now the transport as well. Once he's got the T-70 out, of course, he knows he has the manpower for the infantry, just goes for it. So, yeah. Makes sense there. Machine gun there. Moving forward steadily in the center as well there. Grenadiers, assault guns pushing northwards. Finndeed overall maintaining 3 pushes here effectively, at least 3 fronts, if you will. Center, north, and south. The center one shows him being the more stable and less moving one, so he doesn't have to manage that too much. Armoured car there shows a effective move to whatever front needs support. And of course, there's theoretically the southern front, but that's less of a front and, I don't know, more of like, you know, picnic. Pack 40 in the way for Finndeed, upspeaking the T-70. You're not going to go for double armoured cars to try and counter it. It would be kind of cool. I mean, again, it's tricky, but if you make it work, you can actually swing the game pretty aggressively down to the opponent with 2 armoured cars then. But again, it's not a typical counter you'll see, and it's not one I generally recommend. But I do feel like pointing it out. If you're feeling daring, bold, or just really motorized. Assault grenades, he didn't quite do much except slightly slow down PFC there. MD-42 tank to the console there with some well-placed rounds. Pack 4 has arrived. Console being pinned down, T-70 moving forwards. Getting the T-70. Going the southern pointy with the Pioneers. There we go, Panzerabwehr ohne 40. Slowly moving towards the front line here for Finndeed. Center being advanced as well by the engineers. More mines here from him. Also minesweepers in case Finndeed has laid down telemines, which I believe he hasn't, but still. Very good, of course, always like a senior opponent has. If he had, say, like, laid down a telemine, that'd been pretty great there for Finndeed right now, since that'd been the T7 knocked down. Typically, that's the Wehrmacht, one of your big advantages early mid-game is typically like, you know, getting a Telemine in the right place and just taking out your opponent's light tank. You can get that off, you're typically in a really sweet spot as the Wehrmacht, I find personally. Says 3 visual field gun there for PFC. Armoured car pursuing the T7 of the ground support they're blocking. He doesn't know if his opponent has anti-tank grenades, not he obviously, but Finndeed very sensibly doesn't try to like force the match, because if he does, it could really leave him in a bad spot there. So Finndeed here playing it fairly sensibly. He's actually going for another armoured car here. That said, he could actually pursue here. But that said, he probably doesn't know his opponent's actually parking the T7 like really close there, which is honestly really risky here by PFC. Oh, got in Himmel. 4 grenades dealt with 1 mine. That is just value for PFC. That is just a hell of a mine. Says 3 visual field gun there right about down. Grab northern point for Finndeed if he can. Tech, of course, would be soon very nice. Though, of course, going for double armored cars slows down. He's down, but again, he's hoping to like turn around with double armored cars, which is fairly rare though. And again, does require more micromanagement, which is again why it's typically not super common. Plus, it also just requires like decent understanding of, you know, vehicle tactics. You have to handle 2 armored cars. Into to find way there. T7 blasting away. We got 449 versus 382. Comes right here with the armored car. Assault grenadiers probably should be put out for some reinforcements. North Eagles need to retreat there before they get cleared out, or he should perhaps hope to bait his opponent into something here. That would be interesting. Looks like it could be a trap that's being slowly set up here by Finndeed. Hoping to bait the T7's position and then ambush from the rear with the armoured cars, maybe the anti-tank guns. That said, PFC isn't quite... I think PFC seems to be realising that he might be being baited into something there. Armoured cars moving in, pack forward as well from these. There we go. Finndeed's trying to execute the trap here. This time we do have the anti-tank grenade still. The T7 are going to have a possibly slightly harder time getting out there. Finndeed's holding up. Oh, actually MD42 holding up flank in. Finndeed's got pushed back. Pioneers moving forwards. Pack forward not pointing in the right place. Constantly under fire there. Should pop the incendiary pierce around here, to be honest. T7 taking a hit there. Can't finish off with the armored car since 1 gun damage. They come in both. Almost got it. He might be able to move in there except for the damage done there. T7 looks like it's going to get away here, so nice attempt here though by Finndeed, nice attempt. That was definitely a tactically more complex setup than you'd actually typically expect in most Camus 2 matches here, but he almost pulled it off there. Almost pulled it off. In the south here though, as all this is going on, the PFC just moves up a counter squad for the fuel pump because, well, Finndeed's got absolutely bugger all in the south now. So, you know, came at a cost. Didn't quite have the effect, but at least the T7 is slightly out of the fight for now. Still, I like the overall plan here by Finndeed. There's definitely, I think, a sound one. Just the execution had some issues. In particular, I think getting infantry in the right time as well. But, you know, overall, very solid effort. Very solid effort. Fixing up the armoured car and second pioneer squad there ready. So, of course, get the support cop as soon as possible. Begin pushing for panzers. And, well, someone just flew away there into the woods like a hockey puck. Help! The squirrels! They're taking me! Sick of that! Damn squirrels! People bombarding the shed. Machine gun quickly backing out there. Very sensible indeed. Flare mine goes off in the south. Good work. But really good field arrest from them. PFC, though, he has yet to take up here. He is yet to take up. Armoured car, they're firing away. Contemplating a bit of damage, she's getting routed. Armoured car setting out. Engaging the conscripts, the Frontovics. Third grenade squad, of course, will also do some light machine guns. She's in a really good position there, getting a kill down Otto. Got the southern fuel point soon. Machine them reinforcing healing. South East is engaging the gun in this pushing the back with some 45mm gunfire. Very good, very good. North armoured car, those engineers. Shot fired. Just moving forwards. Armoured cars looking back. Reinforcing healing, and we got the second field gun for PFC. Possibly indicating he's either really concerned about Finndeed, of course, going for armor, or he's planning to go for the IS-2 here. If he does try to solve for the IS-2, that's definitely, I think, a good opportunity for Finndeed. We realise this just push out a lot of tanks, particularly Panzer IV modifications, put pressure on PFC before that happens. Season again in a bit of trouble here with the Pack 40 and whatnot. Armoured cars also on the move here. I feel like could be pulled back for reinforcement here and then try and extend more pressure in the south, or try and push for the northern fuel. Pushing for the centre here, we got 425 to 358. Pioneers down the flank to do some work. Far south, the armoured car conscripts Pioneers being routed. As PFC sends in his glorious front of XC armoured cars there, though, disrupting the conscript push there. Assault is going to spring as well there. Stem support call for Finndeed. Got this little motor patrol pushing forwards. Fun fact, armoured cars were typically organised into units of 2 known as roller patrol. And of course, then 3 patrols, I believe, made up a platoon. Was it a company? Oh, wait. Little fun fact. Then just going to the southern point here. Grim northern point with the Pioneers. And this was the field guns. Got the Pack 40 also moving up ahead steadily. PFC slightly giving ground here to Finndeed, hoping to perhaps bait him into a kill zone. Or perhaps hoping Finndeed can make some mistake. Ooh, mine gets it off. That's pretty lucky for Finndeed. Assume that was PFC's man, at least. Assume that was his. Good time coming forward. Got it on the T-zone under the Pack 40. Sent in one from the squad to cover the Pack 40. Oh dear, double armor car taking out the double field gun taking out the armored cars. Leaving Finndeed with just one armored car, no double armored car from no more. Still no support required for Finndeed, and back in the base of PFC. It's definitely starting to look more and more like an IS-2 stall here. A bold strategy here. But again, helped by the fact he's been able to disrupt Finndeed's fuel to some degree. But even then, very much risking him open there. It's like, you know, good series of Panzer pushes. And there you go. Once he adds it up, he's actually not far away from the Panzer IV Model J being called in. That one is quite good versus infantry due to its high accuracy compared to the regular Panzer IV. Plus the extra armor it starts out with is also very good. Also upgraded the soldiers with the veteran squad leader. Thumbs up there. South here we've got the armored covers, the conscripts. Support ready. There we go. Panzerkampfwagen 4 aus von Jod on the way here for Finndeed. South here constantly moving forward, ground zone for the Grenadiers. Machine gun at the ready, up north here, trooping forwards there for Finndeed. Armored car knocked out, another loss here for Finndeed and Das Vaterland. Grenadiers also now in the danger zone of being wiped out here by PFC. Yeah, that's looking very likely there. Very likely unless Finndeed gets very lucky, which he didn't even. Oh, got extra unlucky, and the light machine gun drop here for PFC to grab and turn against Finndeed's forces. Mechanized armor company there again. Could be going to go for tanks, but it's starting to look a lot like a IS-2 stall. Though maybe the Panther IV Model J will convince PFC that it's a silly idea, maybe just go for the T-35. In fact, he may be just planning that anyways. But let's say double field guns in the current situation makes it look like an IS-2 stall. There you go, Panther IV Model J out, and of course PFC knows this thanks to radio intercept. So we'll see what goes with the T-35 in response to this. There's the big question again. If you all try to weather the storm, I'm something calling the IS-2 heavy tank. Contract and the Southern Victory upon them secured. We got 410 to 295. Adding the pin machine to the Panther IV is a very good move there for Finndeed. Thumbs up. Yeah, it's starting to look like an IS-2 stall still. I mean, he could still respond to like a T-35 also replacing the lost Grenadier squad. Very good. Panther with the conflict there, very good. Little flank there, perhaps. Field gun shoots and bounds over the Panther IV's armor. One thing I think Finndeed though should consider a map like this, in particular an opponent going for double field guns, would be a mortar here for Finndeed. Could allow him to like hit with support weapons, or at least just throw another smoke screen to like negate them, and make it harder for PFC to use them efficiently versus him. Another gun just got ready, but yeah. The longer time passes and PFC's not going for the T-35 here, the more it is really looking like an IS-2. I mean, now he has the manpower, he almost has the command point just with the fuel. Roughly a minute and a half, give or take a few moments. He's going to have that IS-2 out there, so yeah, he's going to go for it. He is likely going to go for it now. I'd be surprised if his son decided to go for the T for the first about 85 now, considering everything else. Season and flank in the centre there, PFC looking for pressure on Finndeed, very good. Then he's ground lost in fuel point. Back 40, Panther 4 moving in. But Armoured really would be a good choice here. At least some more assault troops like quickly hunt down the field guns and clear them out swiftly. Since typically you want weapons with like high rate of fire to help clear them out, since they benefit a lot more from the receipt accuracy, penalties that have been applied to the anti-tank weapons from now after the patch. Up north here, T7 as the Grenadiers, Panther focusing on the Conscript Corps, trying to get a wipe, but sadly doesn't land it there. Or fortunately, if you're PFC. Now, we are definitely a bit under a minute here away from the IS-2 for PFC, and Finndeed is even aware of the possibility. We'll have to see. But he may have to consider some Stooks here versus the IS-2. Or at least a lot more Pack 40s. Stook would also be good for perhaps helping hunting down the T-70, putting out its misery, since Finndeed could get rid of it. That I think would be a huge burden off his shoulders, since PFC's just been using that T-70 incredibly, excruciatingly well here against Finndeed's infantry, just making it hard for Finndeed to play aggressively. There we go. IS-2 heavy tank out there for PFC and the Red Army. Being equipped with the disc game machine gun on top of Pentagon. Very good. Thumbs up. Grab the southern point of the Grenadiers. Panther good to go. Second pack full there for Finndeed. North here we've got the T-70 riding the assault Grenadiers. IS-2 filling up here. Console falling back here. North T-70 running the assault Grenadiers. Pack 4 number 2 almost done there for Finndeed. At this point, I think you should be able to like hear the IS-2 in the distance. It makes a very distinct sound. So there you go. Ready with its 122mm gun. Console going to fire from the Pack 40s. Pushing for the southern field. We've got troops holding up in the centre, trooping right here for enemy 42. IS-2 moving forwards. Pack 40 they're ready, sort of. If you can hit it with a target weak point, then get the other Pack 40 in the job as well. I think he actually has a fair chance of getting out the IS-2 fast here. That does, of course, require time it correctly with the target weak point and everything else. This is no guarantee off. Most players tend to forget about the target weak point behind, unfortunately. Or if you're the opponent, fortunately, to forget about it. A well-timed target weak point is an incredibly powerful ability. IS-2 shoots whiffs. I mean, that's why they removed it from the Stug. Soldiers on the fire here, and there go Pack shoot punch through the IS-2's frontal armour. Nice shot there. Second shot goes through as well. Further down shows the PFC's heavy tank. But Finndeed is definitely finding his front line shrinking here under incessant pressure from PFC and the Red Army. Constantly suppressed by the 42, moving up the square on the centre. Pack 40 repositioning. Pushing for the counter there. T-sensing it from the Pack 40. Veterans were on that one as well. They gave some 2 target weak points if you so desires to use them. IS-2 being hauled back here for repairs. Finndeed could soon go for another Panther 4. Could of course also consider just going for a bunch of Stugs. You could also theoretically go for an Osprey, but with the Panther 4 model you don't necessarily need it, as it's just typically very good against infantry due to the increased accuracy. We shall see, of course, what Finndeed goes for here versus PFC. In the south, we got victory point being fought over here. Conscripts finding their cover crumbling right before their eyes as they take intense fire here from Finndeed's forces, making that push for Deutschland. Teaching hit from the Pack 40. Could finish it off here, possibly it's too slow. Didn't happen, but it was a close call, I'd say, there for Mr. PFC. Mine goes off, killing again multiple Grenadiers. Oh, just 2 this time around. I guess they got a bit lucky there. Panther 4 mod young for Finndeed. IS-2 sitting out there. Pack 40 is nearby. Focusing a target weak point here. Eventually 2 gained. Too late for now, that I think the IS-2 is going to be out of range anyways. More mines going off. A really good mining by the PFC again. 2 thumbs up. Really good mining. Panther fighting the conscript. Nice shot. North there, pioneers ground the point here. Big 2 points now in the favour of PFC here over Finndeed. 287 versus 244. Second Panther almost down to Finndeed, and there you go. Field tank with the Panther 4 doing some nasty damage there. Second Panther 4 ready. Should of course at the Pendulum machine gun. Mines laid down here, I think. Not cancelled. Also a bit late for mines, I think. You would definitely benefit again much earlier if you like gotten a Telemar down the right spot and just taking out that T70 fast. Sadly that never happened. Not much to the luck of PFC. There you go. Great hit there. Taking out a few pioneers as well there. Pushing back the Panther 4. Up north of the Panther 4 today. We're catching the country in the back position, outmaneuvering them. And forced them to retreat. Thumbs up there. Opening up the northern front once more. PFC so far not responding with like an immediate counter-attack, and they just look to exploit elsewhere anyways. And we got the T35 on the way to back up the IS-2 and the T70. Pack fires, and IS-2 quickly disengage before it possibly gets hit by a target weak point. I imagine he's very much cautious about that, but so far, Indeed hasn't been particularly keen on using it. Much to PFC's great fortune. T35 there, almost done. Grab northern point here. Grab northern point, Panther 4 they're almost fixed up and good to go with the Pendulum machine gun. Oh, there was mess mines down there, but yeah, it's just quickly sorting them out. Also using the shed here for cover to avoid any easy shots from the Pack 40s. Very good, and there you go. T3045 arriving here now for PFC. She's engaging the assault grenades, placing the back Panther moving forwards. And there you go. IS-2 strikes. Range to the Pack 40. Do we get the target weak point? Do we get it? Do we get it? Do we get it? Another shot there. No target weak point though. Not a single one. Panther 4 they're taking him down, getting up near the T35 there. This is pretty bad for Finndeed, about to lose Panther 4 without even taking out the T35. But he did get the T70, but that's not worth the Panther 4. We also got the field and trying when they're no support in infantry wise. Panther 4 got knocked. There you go. Big blow there to Finndeed. Definitely not a great trade. Definitely not a great trade. He still also has the IS-2 to deal with. He almost got the T35. Comes rushing after the Panther 4. Aim for support still not materialized. We got pioneers moving forward to center, but into the country there with the light machine gun. We got 187 to 287, 100-point difference there. Pioneers finally around to assist the Panther 4's retreat a bit. And what will Finndeed go for now? Another Panther 4 will be the Sturmgeschütz. Does Finndeed have some other plan in mind here? Versus his Stalinist foe. Packs flying away there. Reinforcing healing. Going for the eastern fuel point again. Surprised Finndeed hasn't tried S-money that one for some. I mean, that would do a lot there to slow down PFC's harassment of it. That would have done a lot. Panther 1 5 from the conscript. Conscript on the 5 from the Panther 4 messed up the order there. I mean, technically the Panther 4 is ordered to fire, but it's not exactly like a threatening fire. T4 being used from cell repairs. IS-2 is good to go once more for PFC. 178 versus 287. Sitting out there. And we got air support as well to further disrupt here from Finndeed to make it push. IS-2 strikes. Pack's gun has been caught in a scathing air support fire here from the Sturmgeschütz. IS-2 bouncing in between them. And there you go, follow-up push here from the other side now that Finndeed's front line is in utter chaos. Excellent push here by PFC, 2 thumbs up. And Finndeed is just being torn apart here as the troops are pinned down. Can't support the infantry or the tanks and the support weapon. Meanwhile, the IS-2 and the T35 just making a mockery of the rest of Finndeed's forces. Almost got the Panther 4 here. IS-2 taking a few hits here. Target weak point intended, but at this point it's too close and too late here. Using also banned, we got a further counter flank here. Pack's been cleared out. Finndeed is just being completely bisected and dissected, and there you go. GG, game over. Really good finishing push here by PFC. Overall, really good match here on Millroad. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, do channel me. This is Imperial Links in Cheers. Thank you for watching. Till tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.